What's up, you guys? It's Chloe. Obviously, I'm here with a really exciting new truck, the Generation 4 Toyota Tacoma. If you watch my channel, you know how stoked I am about this truck. In today's very exciting video, I finally see the all-new next generation 2024 Toyota Tacoma, which was the first time in person for me. I sit inside, ask Toyota all of the burning questions I have as a current Tacoma owner, and we really get up close and personal with this new truck. Now, even though this truck has been completely redesigned everywhere from the body to the interior to the engine, suspension, and it's on the all-new TNGA F platform that the Tundra and Land Cruiser are also now on, one of the first things I actually didn't expect because of the many new and cool distinct features until I actually experienced this truck was just how much this truck still felt like a good old Tacoma. I think despite the modernization and upgrades you'll see and other things about this truck that I'm going to be pointing out in this video, this vehicle still maintains a lot of things that were in the previous generations that just make a Tacoma, which is great because so many people already love the Toyota Tacoma as it is. But of course, there was always room for improvement, and I think this 2024 release really embraces that. It has taken me a while to make a video about this truck. I've been wanting to for so long, ever since it got released earlier this year, 2023, but I wanted to wait till I really had the chance to touch, feel, see it with my own two eyes, experience it, and ideally drive it, although I did not have a chance to drive it on this trip. Hopefully that'll come soon. But we are getting closer to 2024 Tacomas hitting dealership lots, and a lot of you who have watched my channel have reached out asking me what I think about this new truck. So I am really just excited to be sharing my thoughts after actually experiencing it in the flesh. And towards the end of this video, I will make sure to share with you guys what my current plans are when it comes to this new truck, what trims I'm thinking about, all that good stuff. And obviously, huge thank you goes out to Toyota for allowing and inviting me to film this truck for you guys. I am so excited about this 2024 Toyota Tacoma Gen 4. Let's go. Alright, so this Toyota Tacoma you're seeing was on display at Overland Expo Mountain West in Loveland, Colorado at the Toyota booth, and I highly encourage you guys to check out the Toyota booth if you're ever going to an event like this because they have the newest vehicles on display. They also have a ton of great events. But anyways, this is a TRD Off-Road Premium in the color Solar Octane, super bright. It totally pops even in the rain. And getting down to some of the basics under the hood, which I was really excited to see because Toyota did really bring some big changes, but I kind of struggled there for a second, reaching up because the other side of the truck was elevated and I'm short. Can I get some help just because this side's taller? Thank you. But this particular truck has the standard I-Force Turbo 2.4 liter 4-cylinder that puts out 278 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. Although some models will have another variant available, the I-Force Max Turbo, where you can get a 2.4 liter hybrid 4-cylinder that puts out 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque. Wow. And I've got to say, those numbers are impressive comparing them to the previous gen. My truck I have here behind me is a 3.5 liter V6 that puts out 278 horsepower and 265 pound-feet of torque. So again, very impressive figures in this 2024. I do have some thoughts I will share later in the video about the move from a 6-cylinder to Turbo 4, and also about the introduction of the hybrid engine, the I-Force downforce max, because that definitely played a role in my own decision in terms of this truck. But yes, quite the change overall. On the outside, the body and styling and appearance has changed quite a bit as well, but I love it. You know, to me, the rear is really similar to the previous gen, but now it more closely matches the Tundra. I like the uniformity there. And the front to me has like taken some of the best design cues from, say, the 2nd gen Tacoma, 5th gen 4Runner. I just see a lot of elements from those vehicles on here. There's definitely a mix of 3rd gen Tacoma and maybe a little bbit of Hilux in there as well. All of that mashed up into a pretty good looking front end. But again, still very familiar. It's kept a lot of its Tacoma-ness or like recognizability, and it looks like it belongs in the Toyota family for sure. I did see some front sensors, which I don't think we have in Gen 3, even in some of the later years, which yay for that, because as you'll see in a little bit when I get on the inside, the hood profile is still pretty big, just like Gen 3, so I think someone like me could really benefit from this. Although note, for people who want to do a large aftermarket front bumper, you're going to have to find ones that support the front sensors as well. It was interesting that on this display vehicle, they took off the air dam, but it will be standard on this truck. They still had it though, so they showed it to me.
We took the air dam off.
Right. I noticed that.
It'll add like 4 to 5 miles per gallon. So
wow, that's pretty significant.
Mile per gallon, 4 to 5 miles a gallon. I'd put it back on, cruising around town.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's super flexible, like too. If it hits stuff, it's just.
But anyways, I'm all for this general aggressive, boxy look all around, you know, the darker headlights and angly fender flares. It looks good. The best of the mid-sized trucks out there, but I'm biased. Our rear drums are gone, which I, like many others, was excited to see. And I was also stoked to see BF Goodrich trail terrain tires on this truck. One of my good friends actually picked up this exact tire in the same size too, 265/70 R17, for his 3rd gen Tacoma, and he really liked them. Although personally, I think I would put KO2 all-terrains on there and in the size 33. The tire size does look small in these clips, but you guys have to remember this truck was flexed out. And while I can't say it with certainty, it does look like there's generally just more space in the wheel well compared to Gen 3 at least. And I can certainly appreciate that because Toyota knows everyone, including myself, puts larger tires on these trucks. You know, something I was curious about was overall, this 2024 Tacoma looked like it was a little bit bigger than my 2019 Gen 3 Tacoma. Obviously, there wasn't a Gen 3 or haven't been able to bring my truck or get a 4th gen and put them side by side. So it is hard to compare by reference. But one of the reasons I bought a mid-size over a full size, and one of the big reasons I must mention, was the smaller footprint, of course. And I think for a lot of people, this thing is important, but I just want a vehicle that's going to fit inside my garage. So I was curious about the Gen 4 length, and I did the crazy thing. In the rain, I actually measured the length. No, I did not have a tape measure, but I used the measuring app on my iPhone, which has always been actually decently accurate. So here's the screen capture from this. Doing my best again, not official. But we measured 17 feet 5 inches or 209 inches total now. So now let's do a Gen 3 in the same double cab short bed configuration and compare. You know, same methodology, you guys. I do have a tape measure, but gotta do the scientific method. But again, please don't take this for exact, since obviously I didn't measure from the bumper, which does stick out more. But anyways, this measurement you'll see ends up coming about 17 feet 1 inch or 205 inches total. So please don't take those numbers for truth yet, but I just wanted to get a guesstimate, and it looks like the Gen 4 is just a tad longer, but will still fit in my garage. Phew. Moving back to the 2024 Tacoma, some of the coolest new features are in the bed of this truck. And according to Jake from Toyota, there are 4 different ways you can open the tailgate. because one's not enough.
4 on either side. It'll
Okay.
open and it'll close.
Wait, with the key or just like by pressing?
So you can do it this way.
You can do it with the key now? Yeah. And it goes back up?
Yeah.
Or pressing the, I've seen this in Tundra.
But it's one thing the Tundra doesn't have.
Going up?
Yeah.
So freaking
And you gotta
cool.
find the side too. So you're like, oh man,
And obviously the handle's still a thing.
who needs handles anymore?
Wow.
2024.
Yes, I agree. Who needs handles anymore?
Handles are a thing of the past.
And I'm happy you kept the big storage box. Yeah, my 2019 only has the half, but it's got the outlet.
So like this one has, because it's not a hybrid, has
Right.
a 400, 100. But in the hybrids, and like Trail Hunter and Pro for sure, it's a 2400 watt. And then in the Trail Hunter, that's actually an air compressor.
Yeah.
In addition to the USB-Cs, so like you can.
Oh, I didn't even see there were USB-Cs in there. Can this be adapted to put an air compressor from Toyota in here?
Yeah.
No need to do some irreversible cutting like you guys have seen on the channel before. And this third bed rail comes standard.
I believe so.
Very cool. Bed lights, I think, are in a little bit of a better location than Gen 3.
Yeah. Some of them have the.
Oh, the accent lighting.
Yeah. I was just
Could you add that after the fact? Like replace this? That's awesome.
Yeah, super modular. Yeah.
Very cool.
And then push the button and
Oh, both sides?
yeah.
No way.
Up it goes.
Like magic, guys. I do think they really took a look at what people were doing to their Generation 3 Tacomas and incorporated those options into a truck. I love that they're embracing the mods now. That's right. These have got new high lift points. The bed is overall a little bit deeper than what was in previous generations according to Toyota, and that's because the seats are higher, which, okay, this has clearly never been a problem for someone of 5'5" stature, clearly. But you guys, the headroom in this truck inside the cab is so much better, which I'm sure you're curious about the inside now. There's a lot of new things going on in the inside of this truck, but again, first impressions, to me, stepping into this truck, sitting in it, it really does feel reminiscent of my Gen 3. Yeah, this feels a lot like my Gen 3. Just with an upgraded, enhanced, modernized user experience, of course. All right. First time in the 4th gen Tacoma. I like these very tactile switches here. We've got the TRD start stop button. This is pretty cool up here. And it's away now from the climate control knobs. Same with all of these different 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low engagement modes, which is nice. In my 3rd gen, I always accidentally switch these things around just because they're so close to the climate control knobs. Lots of space over here. This nice little cubby, MOLLE panels all around. And check it out. This is more intuitive than in Gen 3. From the 14-inch head unit, and I believe in this truck, before I changed out my radio for an aftermarket one, it was close to like 7 inches, so quite an increase in size here in this new gen, to the seats that are in a much better position. Notice that they made changes to that, and you guys, they are more comfortable. I really like the styling on the doors now. There's some available aux switches, so now wiring is going to be less of a headache for us modders, to even the little things. Have a lot of the same controls up here as in Gen 3. Oh, and nice, my TRD Off-Road does not have a sunglasses holder because this is where the crawl control stuff is, but this one does, and it's still got the crawl control switches because they're moved down here. Very, very cool. I'm happy about this little storage option. Nice little grab handle over here. There's no grab handle on the driver's side, but there is one on the passenger side. An inverter, more USB-C slots, more cup holders. We still got the capped bottles only. And you can see this one is equipped with that JBL speaker as well. Again, that hood still is pretty giant to me. In the older Toyotas, like in my Land Cruiser, in first gen Tacomas I've driven, I've never had issues looking over the hood when off-roading especially. But with this new Tacoma, I suppose the front camera should compensate for that. And also, I did not have a chance to actually play around with the seating controls, but there were powered seating controls on both the driver and the passenger side, which was great to see. What I loved too that was immensely improved was the sound deadening. Check out this clip right when I shut the door. The noise just like eliminates. It was pretty impressive. Wow. Oops. Shut the door. Okay, so wow, with all the doors closed, this thing is very, very quiet. A lot more quiet than my Gen 3, and I was also sitting in a Bronco all day, and it's a lot more quiet than that. They are blasting music right now. I can still hear it, but there's not a lot of noise leak. And I talked about the headspace, which again is improved both in the front and in the back seats. And if you can see, there's kind of this opening or cutout situation in the roof. And I would assume that would be for more headspace for your passengers. But what about legroom in the back? It's always seemingly a troubling question when it comes to mid-sized trucks. Let's check out the back seat space. Whoa. Surprisingly pretty good for a mid-sized truck. All right, so the driver's seat is pretty far back. I'm not sure if it's completely maxed out, but this doesn't feel too terrible. I am like only 5'5", so I could see it is pretty tight back here if you are a taller fellow. What I like is a ton of under-seat storage, very easy to access. I wonder, am I allowed to pull these seats? Oh, so this is different. It pulls up this way. It's pretty nifty. Lots of storage space underneath here. Looks to be a lot more than Gen 3. And overall, these rear seats sit a lot higher too. So we talked about the body, a little bit about the engine, the bed, the inside. So now I want to show you guys underneath the truck because Toyota did make some big changes, all really positive in my opinion. And these were the changes that I really personally was most excited about when hearing the Generation 4 Tacoma get announced. Okay, so now we have a massive one-piece drive shaft like the Tundra. For these Gen 3s, I've seen when people lift these Tacomas, they can get driveline vibrations. So it seems like the one piece is better for that. This truck had sway bar disconnects. So cool. So now people don't have to decide to completely remove their sway bar to get better off-road performance or keep it on for a better on-road experience. You can engage it whenever you want. Up front, I saw two catalytic converters. One was semi-exposed, but it seemed like it was mounted high enough in a location that would make it really difficult for a thief to remove, which is good. And the other one was tucked behind the turbo. But the thing I'm most excited about personally for this 2024 Tacoma is the multi-link rear suspension. This is an option on some of the trims. Obviously, it was here on this TRD Off-Road Premium, and I think this is going to be a much better ride than the Leaf Springs. And also, don't miss the fact that the Bilstein shocks that came on this truck also have little resis, something my 2019 TRD Off-Road did not have. So that is a lot of this truck. Again, not everything, but things that I, as a current Tacoma owner, can certainly appreciate. But again, as I promised, now I want to talk about my plans when it comes to this truck. If I think I'm going to be purchasing a 2024, and if so, which trim is for me. So with this truck, I'm sure many of you have heard that there are more trims offered now than previously. So we still have the good old SR, SR5, we have the Limited still, TRD Off-Road, TRD Sport, and the super awesome TRD Pro. But new from the old generation to 2024 is the TRD Pre-Runner, and also of course you can't forget the Trail Hunter. All of these trims have unique packages, I'll say. Like for example, on the Limited you get the adaptive variable suspension where basically dampening will get adjusted on the fly as you drive on road for better comfort. The TRD Pre-Runner comes standard with the electronic locking rear diff. Just compared to the previous model years, I feel like these trims now have a lot more difference relative to each other. I feel like Toyota really has a trim out there for everyone. You know, people like me who kind of have the desert in their backyard, or at least I go out to the desert a lot, have different needs than people who do, say, a lot of rock crawling in their truck. Or there's a lot of people that also camp and have bed racks and a lot of weight in the back of their truck because they basically live out of these things. There is something for everyone, and I think the trim variation is really great in this year. If it isn't obvious already, I really like this TRD Off-Road Premium I saw. I'm just really happy too. It just happened to be at the expo while I was there because it is very comparable to the current TRD Off-Road I have. I think it is for me, and through owning a TRD Off-Road for over 4 years now, I think that trim really suits me well. So with that being said, I am planning on purchasing a 2024 Toyota Tacoma. And before the comments get all crazy, I never said anything about the Gen 3 going anywhere, but I was just overall very impressed with what I saw in person. That 2024 TRD Off-Road Premium pretty much has everything that my Gen 3 has. It's just stepped up, and in my opinion, pretty much in every way better. The TRD Off-Road is also great because it's somewhat of a blank canvas, allowing me to add modifications. It seems like a lot of parts from some of the upper trims can be adapted onto it, which is great. So that's just honestly what I'm thinking right now. But I will say the TRD Pro with the Quick Switch 3 box shocks, isodynamic seats, those are really cool. Those are literally out of this world. The wider body, more aggressive lines, standard 33-inch tires. That truck's in the back of my mind too. The TRD Pre-Runner is also not off the table for me, but I really wish it had that new multi-link rear suspension. Again, that was something I really liked that got introduced in the 2024s. So I really think it's going to be between the Off-Road, more likely, and a TRD Pro for me. Now, hybrid or no hybrid, because that is a big difference, and it's also a big move for Toyota to offer an iForce Max in the new Tacoma. You know, without actually driving the truck yet, I will say I am impressed by the sheer numbers. Again, that iForce Max is 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque. That packs a punch for a mid-sized truck. Sure, the V6 is still a fan favorite for the Toyota Tacoma, but the iForce Max, to my understanding, does a really good job at offering supplemental power right when you need it. And even with the V6 in this current Tacoma, that's what a lot of owners want, more power. The only thing is it is really difficult to judge reliability from our standpoint because this is relatively new, but Toyota themselves say they have extensively tested this. They are putting their name behind it, which I think personally says a lot about this system. And you have to remember, Toyota's been working on hybrid for a long time. And I've only ever personally owned internal combustion engine vehicles, and I am aware that hybrids can be more expensive when it comes to repairs. But I do hear from my friends that own hybrids that repairs are relatively infrequent compared to these internal combustion engine vehicles, just because there's less wear components. All that to say, I am on board and really excited about the iForce Max personally, and being there and talking to Jake, who has driven it. He really likes it a lot.
Much better feel. Feels a lot more like a big truck in a small body. So when you're inside, you're really comfortable, and it's got a lot of power.
So I would like my truck to be configured with it rather than just with the standard iForce. Anyways, you guys, that is what I have to say about the 2024 Toyota Tacoma. I am so happy to have finally seen it. It's been a long time coming, I feel like. Hats off to Toyota for really building a fantastic truck for the people, keeping the Tacoma great in this next generation. I'm excited to see more, and probably most of all, of course, get in one and test drive. So that's all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Obviously, there was just a lot of information in this video, as there is with any new vehicle. Please, please, please let me know your comments down below on this new vehicle. I will be making more 4th gen content, but for the most part, I'm going to be sticking with this truck over here, Gen 3, so you guys will see regularly scheduled content for that as well. If you want to connect more with me, you can follow me on my Instagram. It is at ChloeKuo Taco. I post more in real time on there, and there's some extra content on there as well. Plus, now I also have a TikTok. You can follow me there, ChloeKuo Taco. But thank you guys again. Let me know what content you want here on this channel, and I hope I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.